What's up guys, it's Kristen from Anime Collective. So in this week's video, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite collector's edition for you guys, the High School of the Dead full color editions. And to do that, I'm going to be flipping through volume 1 for you guys, but I'm also going to do a comparison to the first individual paperback volume, just so you can see what makes these different from those. Let's get into the review. So High School of the Dead was released with English translation in the full color editions, but individual volumes of the series were released by Yin Press as well. The individual volumes are paperback, whereas the full color editions are hardcover. There are also a total of 7 individual volumes of High School of the Dead. The hardcovers are omnibuses, with the first volume containing volumes 1 through 4 and the second containing volumes 5 through 7, so these 2 hardcovers fully collect the series. In terms of what makes these unique from the paperbacks, the full color editions are larger. Here's a quick look at them side by side so you can see the difference. Their dimensions are approximately 7.5 by 1.75 by 10.5 inches, whereas the individual volumes are around 5.1 by 0.9 by 7.55 inches, so they are bigger all around. However, if you compare how much shelf space these would take up, they take up considerably less space since they are only around 1.75 inches thick in comparison to 4 individual volumes, which would take up around 3.6 inches of shelf space. To give you an idea as to what these are similar to in terms of size, they're nearly the same size as the deluxe editions from Dark Horse, albeit a teensy bit larger with only like 0.2 inches separating them both height and width-wise. I have these editions currently displayed on the shelf after and next to all of the Dark Horse deluxe editions I own from Berserk, Hellsing, and Blade of the Immortal, and I can't tell they are slightly bigger at all when looking at the shelf. Appearance-wise, I really love the look of these and the design of the covers. The dust jackets have a nice texture to them on the lettering and on the bloody handprints, and hopefully you can see this effect in the video. The first volume features beautifully drawn art of Rei on the front, and when you flip over to the back of Seiko, while the second volume has art of Seiko on the front and Seiya on the back. This one has similar designs as the first, but with slight differences, like the handprints and the background color is red instead of black. The spines also have a lot of texture to them with raised lettering and details, and these look awesome when displayed on the shelf. Another important thing to note is that these volumes do have an eye, so they lay flat while reading, which is something I'm always hoping for with these larger omnibuses. I'm so happy with how these were made because despite their thickness, they are never difficult to read and all the panels are completely visible throughout. I also want to show you guys what these look like without their dust jackets on. So they feature the same art as we saw before, but without all of that lettering and extra detailing, and they have a nice sheen to them. With or without the dust jackets on, these look great. These look amazing on the outside, but they are just as amazing inside. When you first open up the volume, you are introduced to these amazing illustrations by Shoji Sato. These are an added bonus to purchasing the full color editions, and more of these pop up over the course of the volume. As I'm flipping through the first few pages, I want to compare the first paperback volume to the full color edition. As you can see, the first few pages of the individual volumes are in color, but the printing of the full color editions appear even brighter to me when comparing the two. Also, the way they handled the act text in the top corner makes it so you can see the full art, whereas you can't in the individual volume. It appears that the art in the individual volumes was also cropped slightly at the bottom as seen here, whereas you can see the full art in the full color editions thanks to their large format. In addition to them being in full color, it's design choices like these that make the full color editions better in my opinion. The translation and the story are the same in both, so there are no differences there, and the sound effects are translated the same in both as well. They both have the Japanese sound effects with small translations underneath them directly on the page. The one thing that's cool about the full color editions though is the fact that he even colored the sound effects, which really makes them stand out and gives them even more emphasis. But it's when you see these larger, more impactful panels like these that you see just how much more amazing the art looks in these volumes. In terms of look and print quality, the full color editions are definitely the best way to experience High School of the Dead, and there's no question that I prefer them over the individual volumes. Price-wise, at the time of this video, the full-color omnibuses are selling for $44.99 USD on Right Stuff right now, and the individual volumes are going for around $10.49 USD each. The first volume contains 4 individual volumes, so it only costs you around $3 more to get them, which is awesome for all of the extra content and the quality you get with these full-color editions, as well as the fact that they are full-color and hardcover. Also, it seems like some of the individual volumes are being marked as no longer available, and places like Amazon and Right Stuff are saying they don't know when or if these items will be back in stock. So as it currently stands, the full color editions are the easiest way to fully collect the series as well. With that said though, Right Stuf and Barnes & Noble are currently out of stock of the first Omnibus, but they are expecting more. So you can still order the first Omnibus on those sites right now according to their product pages. They will just be shipping out at a later date when they receive more stock. The second Omnibus, however, is in stock at the time of this video on Amazon and Right Stuf, who have the cheapest prices right now. I've added links for you guys in the description below if you want to check them out. One of the biggest positives to buying the omnibuses, of course, is their full color panels, which really pop. Also, the paper is like what you would see in comic book omnibuses, so they have a glossy finish. The quality of the printing and the vividness of the colors is incredible, and these are some of the most beautiful full color editions I've ever seen. I really enjoy the way his panels flow, and I love the moments he chooses to emphasize. You can just see so much more detail here, and this manga really comes to life, especially in the landscapes and settings, or looks even more dead depending on what elements you are looking at in this manga. In one of the interviews included in these volumes, by the way, there's a few of these included throughout that are interesting to read, he mentioned that he really took care in making sure that you could tell the difference between the living and the zombies. He did a great job with this in the black and white version, but the zombies look even more grisly in full color, and the blood and gore elements hit even harder than before. This is a manga that's full of carnage as you would expect in the zombie apocalypse, and I love just how gruesome he gets with his art and how this all comes through even more so in these full color editions. On top of those interviews I mentioned, there's a lot of commentary from the creators included throughout, character sketches, illustrations, and more that are featured in these volumes as well, and this makes them that much more awesome to experience. On top of the manga, it's almost as if there's an art book sprinkled throughout these volumes as well. I know there's an art book you can purchase too. I'm not sure if those are pulled from that art book since I don't have it in my collection just yet, but if you know, let us know in the comments. This series also features some fan service since it's an ecchi in addition to a horror and supernatural story. To me, the manga has less fan service than the anime, so if you drop the anime for that reason, I recommend giving the manga a shot. Not to say there isn't still quite a bit, but wanted to mention this if this is something you typically aren't into. Even so, it's all done in a lighthearted way, and I personally don't mind these elements. And if you are new to High School of the Dead, the story essentially is about a group of high schoolers working together to survive the zombie apocalypse and all of the obstacles they have to overcome in their new and scary reality. It really takes a good look at how these teenagers quickly adapt to the circumstances and how this new world shapes them. Of course, situations like zombies taking over are going to bring out the best and worst in people, and High School of the Dead does a great job at showing how it pushes people to either work together to rise out of that darkness or pushes them further into it. But most of all, explores the gray area that many of these characters reside in. You have a lot of interesting characters that all excel in different areas that are pertinent to surviving the zombie apocalypse. There are various groups as well with different intentions and a look into how both people and nations will respond to this threat, which makes it more interesting as well. I really think the story is done well here, and on top of that, the art and panels are amazing to witness. In addition, it's as gloriously fun and action-packed as some of my favorite B-horror zombie movies. Sometimes that's all I need to be happy, and I'm okay with that. But when it comes to zombie stories though, High School of the Dead is one of my favorites and I highly recommend checking it out. Another thing I want to note is that this story is not complete. Daisuke Sato, High School of the Dead's writer, tragically passed away, and what he left us and all he was able to create is definitely still worth reading though. I know that some individuals don't like getting into a series if it's unfinished or on a lengthy hiatus, but I personally would have missed out on some of my favorite manga series if I lived that way. The journey doesn't reach its end, but you get to see where it was headed and give love to someone's work who they dedicated their hours and life to. If you are looking to read High School of the Dead, I highly recommend going with the full color editions over the individual paperback volumes. They are phenomenally made, the colors are beautiful, and they are one of the best full color editions I've seen. The large format allows the art in this series to shine, and they are beautifully designed. The extra material is also above and beyond what I've seen in many other collector editions, and this makes the High School of the Dead full color omnibuses that much more of a must-have. Plus, they are priced just a little higher than the paperback volumes, so they are a no-brainer in my opinion. And there you have it, guys. There's my review and comparison of the High School of the Dead full color editions. I hope this was helpful for those of you who are considering picking these up. If you own these in your collection, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like because it really helps support the channel. Also, stay tuned because I have a new unboxing of a new Naruto statue coming soon to the channel, as well as a review of the hardcover Fist of the North Star volume. Thanks so much for tuning in as always, and I'll see you guys next week.